I feel honored and privileged to have the opportunity to introduce our next guest in the series of podcasts. Dr. Tim Lautzenheiser is a well-known name in the music education world as a teacher, a clinician, author, composer, consultant, and adjudicator. But above all, I know Dr. Tim as a trusted friend. I first met Tim in 1981. It was at that time he created Attitude Concepts for Today, which is an organization designed to manage the many requests for workshops, seminars, and convention speaking engagements focusing on the area of positive attitude and effective leadership training. Tim also is the Senior Vice President of Education of Conn-Selmer. He is the author of several best-selling books in the music profession. These include The Art of Successful Teaching and The Joy of Inspired Teaching. He is also co-author of the Hal Leonard Popular Band Method, Essential Elements. Tim is a graduate of Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, and the University of Alabama. He serves on the board of directors for the Midwest Clinic in Chicago, Illinois. Again, Tim, this is a long overdue conversation, and I feel honored to have you here today. Maybe you could start out by telling us a little bit more about yourself and your background.
Well, thanks. Let me assure you, I'm the one that's honored. And to hang out with you is always the best. So, no, this is the gift to me. I'm looking forward to this. There's nothing flashy about it. I grew up in a small town, Bluffton, Indiana. You know where that is because you got Hoosier blood in you.
Ooh.
Very small band. Oh man, Jim, the band program was just not very good. Oh man, it was grim. But I didn't know that. We all thought we were, recording specialists at that point. Went to Ball State and got my eyes open there, for sure. And then just became obsessed with the whole band world and what it meant and what it could do for people. And spent 10 years as a college band director. Loved it. Would do it again in a heartbeat. Yeah. So it's been a great run. Doesn't get any better. This is year 62 of teaching.
That's tremendous. All right, Tim, what words of wisdom would you offer for any student who wants to pursue a career in music?
I think it's the greatest job in the world. Yeah, I'm incredibly prejudiced, yes, and biased about it. But I mean, every day we get to work with kids with music. Having traveled the world, we're so blessed to be able to have it. And I know you do too in the schools where it's part of the curriculum and the integration of it and how it blends in with everything else the student does in that educational journey. I just think it's the greatest job in the world. Plus, we get to be creative. I have so much respect for those academic teachers who teach that same curriculum 6 times a day or whatever. Oh my gosh. But we get to change our textbook every concert, right?
If you had the opportunity to change any aspect of high school music education, what would it be?
Oh boy, that's such an open-ended question. People say things that are platitudes like I'd have every child involved in music. Well, sure, me too. I think we're growing. I think it's organically growing. But some of the things that you just said that you're doing by intention is opening up people's minds to really the countless benefits that come from music learning and music making. And I'm not just talking about have a great holiday concert or any of that. I'm talking about what it does for the total development of the child. And we're just now nicking the edge of that, aren't we? Just the very tip of the iceberg, where we're finding out all of the things it does for the brain development, but also for the emotion of the child, for all of their soft skills, which sometimes I think are really the hard skills. And we make better people. We just plain make better people.
This next question is a question primarily geared for teachers who teach in the United States and in North
Uh-huh,
America,
uh-huh.
but it has the IB, the international flavor in mind. What is an ensemble director? Is that person a conductor, a mentor, a friend? Can ensemble directors do all this from the podium? When is he or she a teacher? Can one do all this from the podium, and how might that look?
Well, apparently they can because we do. You did. Um, I think we're all of those things. You know, people say, I'm just a conductor. I don't know. You helped unload the truck with the oranges so that there was some other things in there. I think in the pandemic, not to even begin to pour any sugar on that, but one of the things that I was doing, Jim, was still doing administrator leadership workshops for principals and superintendents and so forth. And it was interesting to hear them talk about, they were interested, Jim, in what class held the kids the best online, you know, when they were doing everything online. And it was always music. And it, you know, they would look at their surveys, Jim, and they would go like, "What'd you get? Music?" Well, that's what I got, music. Why'd you get music? And here's what they came up with, which I thought was, you know, I'm sitting in the corner going, "Yeah, I knew that." I said that band, orchestra, choir, whatever it is not a class. It's a culture. Because you think about that, they get the math teacher in middle school or high school, maybe two times, maybe three. They get that band director every year. Sometimes they get them 4 or 5 days a week every year. You don't go hang out in the math room, you hang out in the band room,
Mm.
right? And your friends, that becomes your family. I would say most music teachers are music teachers because of their relationship with their music teacher, their mentor. Whereas if you're going to be an architect, you choose a good architectural school. If you're going to be a music teacher, you ask your teacher where you should go to school because you want to be like the teacher. And if there's anything that where the teacher is a huge part of the curriculum itself, it's music. There's just no, it has to be. It's just music. So yeah.
When I look back at it, that was certainly the case for me. And
Yeah.
you know the whole stories there, I
Well,
think,
I mean, just share that for a second because I can play off that so well.
about my association with
Yeah,
my
how'd you get to be a band director?
well, it was the band director that I had in high school. And well, I could go on and talk about Al Castronovo, but he he was my father, basically.
Absolutely.
He was just like my father, and I could laugh with him, and I could shout at him, and I
Yes.
could disagree with him, and I could love him. I mean, it was a love-hate relationship, basically what it was. But he made me who I was. And if I look at the reason why I went into music, of course, there were parts about music. Where did the goosebumps come from? All those things.
Sure.
But he was the one that was able to facilitate the conditions to get goosebumps.
Yep.
I often said that if I could write a method book on how do you get goosebumps, I would probably be a millionaire.
You'd be a billionaire.
Yeah, right. You can't define that. And it's all part of an association of who we meet and who we are, which pretty much epitomizes what music education is.
Yeah, it's interesting, and this is pretty. Thank you for saying that because when I'll stand in front of an audience and say, "How many of you are here because of a music teacher?" Vast majority of the hands go up, 90%. Then the next question, which is telling, is how many of you might have done something else had your life not intersected with that particular person? Almost the same number of hands go up. It's like you said with Mr. C, with Mr. Casanova. It was him. It was that connection. And then he opened you up to the unlimited treasury of music, right?
Yeah.
He built the bridge for you.
You know, it's interesting. I just had a conversation with the Director General of the IB yesterday. He was giving a
Huh?
webinar, and he talked about the future of the IB and the future of teaching. And he says, "What kinds of students are we looking for?" And he said, "I want to turn our attention once to imagine yourself being in a jazz ensemble." And he talked about being in a jazz ensemble. He talked about you have a blueprint in front of you, but the blueprint isn't exactly what you're doing. You have to interpret the blueprint and you have to be communicating with the person next to you and you have to know how to respond. You still have to know the technique, but you don't have to overknow the technique. You have to know how to use things. He says what they're doing in the jazz ensemble is true in every discipline. That level of critical thinking. it was just a fascinating, a fascinating discussion. I just wanted to stop him and say, "Did you play in a jazz ensemble when you were a kid?" Because he was really talking like a music teacher. Okay, I'm going to go on. The IB music curriculum, it fosters something that we call international mindedness. And what international mindedness means is the understanding and embracing of cultures foreign and unfamiliar to us, and realizing how we relate to others, not just with our own circle of friendship, our own culture, but how other people with differences
Mhm.
make us, how we associate with them. This idea of international mindedness, this idea of working together, um, can this be included in a high school performing ensemble? And if so, how might you see that happening?
Well, I think it has to. It's the great phrase that says, it's our likenesses that bring us together, but it's our differences that keep us together.
Hmm.
And so we'll go back to our jazz band again. It's not, I just don't have to learn my part. I have to blend with everybody around me. Um, I can't play the trumpet part, but I'm playing the saxophone part. But then I have to support them, or I don't get the benefits. We're all in this casserole together. Any other classes, you well know, I can go in, do my thing, shut the book, walk out, and never talk to anybody else. I'll get my A, right?
Mm.
You can't do that in music. We're all in this together. And I think, and I know that, for me, and I'm sure it is for you too, music for the sake of music. There's absolutely no question about that in my mind, because
Mhm.
it's the only place you can get those goosebumps,
Mhm.
unless you make the last foul shot or something. Um, but those goosebumps can happen at any time within a rehearsal, in a practice room. And I never got goosebumps in chemistry class.
No. No.
That doesn't put
No.
down chemistry. It just the chance the person himself or herself is involved. So it's important in music, if you are my stand partner, for you to be successful too. This
Yeah,
isn't an I me thing, it's a we us thing.
yeah, definitely. It's all about that collaboration, that communication, and that's all. I have to
Absolutely.
understand not just what you say, but I have to understand who you are.
And
I,
how you feel.
how do you feel? I have to understand who you
Abs-
are today.
Absolutely.
Let's turn it just a little bit.
Okay.
There is sometimes in music education circles, there is a lot of emphasis on music proficiency and doing it right, getting it precise, doing it absolutely correctly.
Mhm.
Do you think that there might be a little bit too much emphasis on musical proficiency? And do you think it might inhibit creativity, critical thinking in the performing ensemble? Just kind of curious to know your thoughts on this. Do we strive for proficiency? Do we comb proficiency into a bigger arena? What any ideas, any thoughts on that
I have
topic?
lots of thoughts about it, but proficient, I mean, most of school is black and white, right or wrong. We mark the right answers, you mark the wrong, and this sort of thing. We're changing every day. We're evolving all of the time. And so, sure, I want to get it right, and you got to be more proficient to get it right, and that raises the standards, and you can use those same habits to adapt to everything else you do. But I'm still going to come back to I give to it. I give to the curriculum. Two plus two is always going to equal four. Whole suite's going to be different every time.
Mm,
It's never the same. I could play the B flat scale or sing a hymn, and each day I do it, I can do it differently. And
mm,
I'll still come out with my four,
mm.
or even a better four the next day, because it never ends. I mean, did you ever in all of your career have a perfect concert?
Oh gosh, no.
No, no.
No.
In fact, mistakes are almost encouraged in our profession. Go for it. We can fix it then. Um, and I think that's a lot of people have trouble with that. The contextual part for us is so important.
Mhm.
We'll figure out a way to get the content. We'll figure that out. We're good at that. But the context, um, people don't quit band because they don't like music or choir or orchestra or anything. It's always something outside of that. It's an off the podium thing. 'Cause, I mean, if it was music, then tell me why they walk out and put in earphones and hit play.
Yeah,
They love music.
yeah.
So that's why the teacher is so important, right? All the surveys we do at Conn-Selmer and so forth, Jim, it's amazing. Why did you quit band after investing 3 years? Almost never does it have anything to do with music.
Yeah.
The environment, the climate, the culture.
Do you find that more challenging as we progress into the technical world, technical stage?
Of
You know,
course it is.
there's
Yeah.
more things offered for kids, or I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. I mean, how many electives did you have when you were in school?
yeah, there was like band, that was it.
Yeah, and we didn't think about it.
Yeah,
Now you've got everything from pottery to, which is good. I think it's wonderful to have that buffet. Um, uh, but if you stand back and look at it, you got me on my soapbox here. If you
yeah,
stand
please.
back and look at it, out of the people that you've had, all the years that you had successful programs, how many percentage wise became professional musicians? And you had a great program.
Yeah,
So 5%?
yeah, maybe that are
Maybe,
now
maybe.
earning
Yeah,
their
making a
living in
living.
the music industry. Yeah, that
Okay,
would be that about
that'd be
yes. Okay.
generous.
Yeah.
That'd be generous.
Yeah.
Okay, how many ended up being music teachers that wanted to be like you?
Well, a couple dozen for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
dozens.
You're
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna go up to 10% on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about everybody else? What about everybody else? And what you did is you didn't they they're doctors and lawyers and businessmen, but all of those wonderful habits that were part of being in your program were transferred to everything else they do.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah,
And
that
that's what's so
absolutely.
cool about it.
Yeah, that's for
Well,
sure.
my kid's going to be a doctor. He didn't have time to be in the choir.
Yeah.
Of the all the more reason he should be in the choir.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting that you say this. A few weeks ago, I went to go see the Concertgebouw Orchestra here in Amsterdam. I was at a
Yeah, yeah.
concert and having a cup of coffee there during the intermission. The student comes up, a kid comes up to me. I haven't seen in years. Comes up to me and he says, "Mr. Yarnell," says, "Do you remember me?" And I'm looking, and I'm going, "You, Jacob, right?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah." And he said, "I said, I'm glad you came up because I wouldn't have recognized you." And he says, "Well, I'm so happy to see you, Mr. Yarnell. I want you to know that what did I do after high school? After high school, I went to a technical university. I went to Delft University, which is a technical university. I'm studying to become an engineer. But so many things that I'm doing in engineering, I got out of your music class because it taught me how to deal with people. It taught me how to work together. It taught me collaboration. It taught me to think openly, to think about problem solving." And he says, "I'm so happy I took your class, even though I'm never going to be a music major and I'm not going to play professionally or sing professionally, but that class is always a part of me." And I think that that's pretty much what the IB is trying to do, is
Yeah.
trying to make you a full
Abs-
person. But I mean, you're saying the same thing in terms of what students do. What are we actually doing in music? Why should we teach music? We should teach music to teach music.
They teach music.
Yeah, yeah,
But isn't it interesting? It was Mr. Yarnell. And
yeah,
we have trouble calling our music teachers by their
yeah,
first names,
yeah.
and we fumble over that. And how eager he was to get to you,
Mm,
to let you know.
yeah, yeah,
You know, we all have those stories, but I mean that's pretty loud, Jim.
yeah. That's priceless.
Oh, well, absolutely.
I wouldn't, if I had to do anything all over again, nothing. I would do it exactly the way I did, even coming here and teaching overseas, which was not my intention originally, but I mean, it's just the greatest joy of life, right?
Oh, it is.
Is to be teaching music. Yeah.
And I think every teacher has those sort of Mr. Holland moments, right? Mr. Holland's moment, but nothing like we do, because like you say, like Al Casanova was your father. He was your surrogate parent,
Yeah, definitely.
and you had a trust level with him and a relationship with him you didn't have with anybody else in that school,
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
and vice versa for him, by the way.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
were his boy
yeah,
to the point he hired you.
yeah. That's absolutely, absolutely true.
It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Topic, student ownership. How might we embrace student ownership in our teaching? When I say teaching, not only in the ensemble, but just in general, whether it's in the studio or in the classroom, how
Mm.
important is student ownership of their work? How might we, how might we empower students?
You're suggesting student leadership is important? No, I'm teasing you. I think anytime we as music teachers find ourselves doing something that one of the students can do,
Mm,
we're wasting everybody's time. I mean, I love to put the stands back and get everything straight, and I like that too, but they can do that, and that then it's their orchestra. It's
yeah,
not ours. It's theirs. And we have what, as we say, the music teacher is one of the last podiums of dictatorship that you can get away with because we want to control everything. How that's the way it should be, and we'll do it. Instead of saying, no, 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 let's teach you to do that. This is your home. This is your sanctuary. How do you want it to look? What was it? I was doing a clinic with and the band director, great guy, great, just a great guy. And in a beautiful school, it was a Taj Mahal gym. And we went down, he wanted me to talk to leaders, right? And went in, and the band room looked like a toxic waste dump. It was just, so we sat down in his office. And I said, what do you want me to emphasize? And he said, well, my kids have trouble with details. He said, they can never really get the final part. It's always messy at the end. And I'm like, look at your band room.
mm,
So when the kids came in, what do you want? Well, we want it to be better, this. So all of the platitudes and everything were there. And I said, look around. And they're like, I said, do you think that has anything to do with intonation? And they're like, no, no, wait a minute.
mm,
It does. We become like our environment.
mm.
And so absolutely they should own every bit of it that they can. And then we can study our scores. But if we're spending time stamping music, that's like having a doctor prescribe aspirin. It's a waste of time, right?
Mhm, mm.
So, yeah, I'm the biggest fan of student leadership in the world. Well, you
No,
know
I know that. Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's coupled with trust. Maybe we could get on the topic
Mhm.
of trust just a little bit. How important is trust, and how do you go about building it?
It's everything. It's the core. It's the main drive. One of my good friends, Scott Sheehan, who was he was just the president of NAfME, was doing one of those lightning rounds with a bunch of college kids. What's the most one word that describes a great music teacher? And communication, passion, all these sort of things. And when I got in, he goes, trust. And I went, oh my, he's right. Without that, none of the rest of them make any difference.
Hmm.
If we think about
Absolutely.
that, right? If I don't trust you, why would I crescendo when you ask
Hmm.
me to? That trust, when you say, Tim, be vulnerable when you sing or play this part, well, you're threatening my very survival as
Yeah.
a animal. But if I know you got that net under the trapeze for me, yeah, I'll try the triple flip.
Yeah.
You're not going to embarrass me if I don't make it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's everything. I mean, that's the reason you and I are talking. I mean, you've always been a
Yeah.
dear friend. I trust you. I'd go to the wall for you. And I know that's reciprocal.
Yeah.
So I think it's everything in family and relationship and a church and everything we do.
Yeah. I mean, what we have to do in our business, I mean, we're opening up our soul to the students, and
Mm,
we're asking the students to open up their soul to us. And
yes.
that's a very fragile exposure, for anyone, but especially a high school student. And in order to reach and delve into that, they need to take a lot of risks. They need to be, they need to, they need
Yeah.
to be open to that. Without that risk taking, they're not going to get to that level.
No.
And that's not going to happen. You're absolutely correct. That's not going to happen without trust. They
No,
have to
we'll
trust
save
you.
some.
There's no point of teaching anything in the curriculum, anything
No.
about Western theory or history or anything
Yep.
until you know that they trust you. You know that, hey, listen, I'm in front of you. I'm going to make mistakes. I want you to know
Yeah.
that I'm going to make lots of mistakes. I make it on a topic. This is the best compliment that you could possibly pay me as a teacher is you're onto something. You ask me a question and you know the answer to it, but I don't know. You're teaching me. You're teaching me how this is done, and that's the biggest compliment that you could teach me. And
Yes.
that doesn't happen without trust and ownership, for sure. I mean, without that, there's no point of
No.
without that, there's no point of going into content. Absolutely no point.
No, that's it.
No.
That's the cart before the horse.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
always said, it's like a salt shaker.
Mhm.
When you fill it, you take the lid off. You don't put the lid on
Yeah.
because you can get more in faster. And the number one fear, this is I've learned so much just by understanding kids. The number one fear of young people is to be embarrassed in front of their friends.
Hmm.
And you and I came from an ilk of directors where that was almost fashionable to
Yeah.
undress a child verbally.
Yeah.
And, and what does they say? We don't teach as we're taught to teach, we teach as we're taught.
Yeah.
So we would mimic that, or at least I did.
Mhm.
And I'd watch, I'm like, I don't want to hurt that kid. What am I doing?
Yeah.
So it doesn't work, does it?
No,
Unless there's
it
that
doesn't
trust.
work.
Yeah,
No.
I'm with you, buddy.
I often end many of the workshops and consultations that I do, or when I'm working with a group or
Mhm.
ensemble, I say, at no other time in history has our work as global music educators been as essential as it is right now.
Amen.
Would you like to respond to that in any way?
Yes. Amen.
Yeah.
Uh, no, we're struggling in our world to to work together, to blend, to have harmony. I mean, we are the only, oh boy, you may have to cut this part out.
Yeah,
We
you go ahead. I can edit
okay,
however you want.
okay. We're the only animal in the forest that kills each other
Yeah.
just for the sake of killing,
Mm.
not for food, not for, we just do it. And
Mm.
I can't understand that. If we're the smartest animal, would we not be using that potential to advance the cause for everybody instead of, well, again, yes, music truly is the universal language. It
Wouldn't it
truly,
be wonderful if before any of the next world leader conferences, if they took the first hour of the conference and all of the world leaders got together and they sang a song together?
absolutely,
That would solve so many problems.
absolutely, absolutely.
Maybe we'll get there. Maybe we'll get there someday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
But where else in school does that happen? Because even, and I love sports, by the way, but even in sports, if you're not doing your job, they'll put you on the bench. We don't bench anybody.
No.
We find a place for them. Everybody's got value.
Yeah, definitely.
Didn't you have students, Jim, that they needed the group more than the group needed them?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. I think you've just described most of my students. They needed to be together. The first day they'd walk into a class, an IB class or the band, they go, "What am I doing here? Why am I here?" And I said, "Just listen, just give it a chance. Just get through that first program, and it'll be fine." But I can't do this. I can't play. No, I'm not doing this. I says, just give it time. You'll manage. Yeah, yeah,
And their friends pull them along too.
yeah. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
That's absolutely a huge part of it. And again, where you can't teach that in a book. There's no there's no textbook for that.
No.
And you've got to put them out there and say, I don't know how you guys are going to get through this, but you're going to have to work it out.
And they do.
And they do work
They
it out.
do.
And this is so many times, I'm sure you've had this as well, where you're in a situation where you know the answer, you know what it is they have to do, and you're so tempted to tell them this, right?
Yes.
But then you zip your mouth shut and say, I think I'm going to let you figure this out.
Yes.
How do you think that this phrase, why are you playing this musical phrase this way? And how could you do it differently? It's not about me knowing it or showing you. It's about you being able to figure it out and do it yourself. And I'm there
Most,
with you. But
yeah. Well, no, I mean, you're just, you got your thumb right on it. Most of school is coloring by numbers.
yeah, definitely. And you figured we'd be over that hurdle by now, but
One
it's,
would think
you know,
we're not.
no, we're not, definitely not. And
Instead
that's
of
true all over the world.
absolutely,
Would you please tell me what to do and let me do it so I can get on with other things?
I get my A and I'll be out of here.
I just tell me what I need and I'm
Yeah,
done.
yeah, you could tell me what to do.
Yeah,
I won't have to think. I
yeah,
just want to
no,
do.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the clock. I know we have to move along here, so I'm just going to wrap it up and say any closing thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to share with the global music education community.
Mm.
Thoughts from Dr. Tim.
I have lots of, I think we have to give up giving up.
Mm,
The persistence alone is omnipotent. And it is so easy when we hit those speed bumps to just like, and walk away. And again, we're having trouble retaining people in our profession.
mhm,
Um, because maybe we're put value on the wrong things. Well, I got a second at the division, or what else? Good heavens. You had three kids that were sick. You're lucky you got a second, not a third, and that we have, if we give up, does that not give them permission to give up?
mhm,
Right? That leadership in our profession is by example,
mhm.
right? And it's like when I hear somebody go off on a tirade, I go, you just gave your kids permission to do that
Yeah,
because they want to be like you.
yeah.
Mhm. So yeah, just stay the course, give up giving up.
Well, Tim, again, I can't say enough how nice it is to be able to talk with you and spend time. I know you're a very busy person, and the fact that you give up your time and your busy schedule to share some thoughts with us, I want to say thank you very
Thank you.
much. And
Thank
it's
you.
again, it's an honor and a privilege to know you and to have these kinds of conversations.
Well, I think, we all love agreement. So,
Yeah.
and as I told Andrea, who adores you, by the way, that's my wife. And she, when we were at your place many years ago, and you were so kind to her, and she's the smart one in the family, that's for
Mhm.
sure. Uh, and I just told her I was excited about talking to you. And she said, Tim, it will probably be like talking in a mirror.
Oh no, you're gonna make me
Yeah, and I
cry.
was like, well, okay, yeah, that'll up my level, man. I'll gain
Yeah.
some on that.
Uh,
So no, thank you. Thanks for inviting me to do it, Jim. I love the family and all that.
okay. All right, Tim. All right. Thanks a lot.